To you by the Heat Ratio Sports Network. The show brings the temperature of sports to a whole new level. Whether it's a local opinion or a national agenda, everything is fair game. Remember, everyone has an opinion, but only few can back it up. Now sit back, crank up the volume, and if you think you can handle it, get ready for the heat.
What is up, everybody? Live Heat Ratio Sports, episode 133. This is Eagles Dallas week today. We got a special guest today. Coach Dave Dixon cannot make it. I'm your host, Tony Cotillo, joined always by Mikey Googs, by John Coker, and joined by Phil Stiefel, Beard of Knowledge, all about the Birds podcast. Thank you so much. Last minute, Phil getting in for me. Coach Dave had an emergency, couldn't make it. Phil, thanks for joining us, buddy.
Hey, glad to be here. Glad to talk some Eagles Cowboys.
Eagles Cowboys, and we're gonna get into it, man. We got Eagles Cowboys, we got Eagles trivia. We'll talk a little bit about Jalen Reagor. We'll talk about injuries. We'll talk a little bit about Jeff Garcia, learning how to shut the hell up, and then we're gonna end with some Beastie Boys talk because I had a. We did a little music segment last week. It was a little fun, so I figured I'd keep it going. And something that caught my eye, and I think it's something that all brings back our childhood for every single one of us. But opening up Eagles Dallas week, and again, let's not get cliche. Not going to ask about when did you start being. I know, Phil, you were funny, man. Like, listen, Phil, before we even start, I'm going to be straight honest with you. People watch everything. And it pisses me off all the time when you throw something out there and another day later it gets recycled by another outlet, doesn't it?
I always say that. I set the trends. I've got a lot of gotten a lot of heat for that hashtag. But you know what? But it's the truth,
Yeah, I mean but it's all the time. It's like so many times, whether it's an image that you make or a question that you ask, you hear it on the radio. It's like, get your own content, man. Like, seriously, and it just pisses me off. So I was so glad that you said that. But again, we haven't got together because it was a Thursday night game, and we watched the Eagles barely beat the New York Giants, which is a shame. Daniel Jones outplaying Carson Wentz a little bit for half of that game, but what I will say is, I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but what I will say, and I said the next day, was it finally shows that I'm all in now on CW. I am. I'm all in on Carson. Listen, not many quarterbacks make that throw to Boston Scott. Not many quarterbacks make the throw to Miles Sanders. Okay, we know what throw we're talking about. Not many. So if you can, I know he's making mistakes, and I know there are times where people are saying he's going to lose us ball games, but you got to take the good with the bad right now. And I'll tell you what, the better is far better than the worse, in my opinion. So, Mike, I'm going to go right to you to start this off. What do you think? Am I wrong for going all in on Wentz? Or, I know it's the Giants, 22-21, but listen, man, he has the talent. What are you feeling right now?
All right. Well, here's what I think. Here's what I think you're feeling.
Okay.
I think that you're holding on to desperation because you really want it. And I'm not just saying you. Maybe you're just the representative of the common Philadelphia fan that just wants to embrace this guy to be able to do these things. And we know that he's capable of making these plays, right? This is the guy. We've been saying this now. We've been watching this guy. He makes these unbelievable plays. Right? I mean, he willed that win straight up. No question about it, right? That's just gritty, crazy, straight up play. The guy is totally the athlete that we think he is. But I think that you want him to succeed so bad, and you want the Eagles to succeed so bad, that we're all blinded by the fact that it seems like now that this guy his coaching is horrible. His support is horrible. I mean, look what Marcus Hayes wrote. We're always going to go back to Marcus because he's the best writer in Philly. But look what he just wrote. I think it was today. He said, Peterson's designing run plays for this guy. We used to think, oh, well, you know what? Carson's going to stop getting hurt because he's going to stop running reckless and lowering his shoulder and trying to run over linebackers. And we're like, oh, Peterson's going to coach him out of it. And now they're designing run plays for him. Now, look, I know he's been lighting it up, but how long is this going to last? And I got to call you out on something, bro. 2 weeks ago, you were calling for Jalen Hurts. You were calling for you want to see Jalen Hurts. Now you're back on Wentz.
I still do. I still, not as a starting quarterback, but I want to see more Jalen Hurts. I want to see him inserted into the offense. That's what I was calling for, not to take over for Carson Wentz.
Okay.
No,
maybe,
I was calling for
maybe
more.
I misunderstood you. I thought you were being mercurial like me because I'm the irrational Philly fan. You're not supposed to be like that. That's
I said 8 to 10 plays. I want to see 8 to 10 plays of Jalen Hurts. That's all.
Right.
That's what I want to say.
There's no doubt that he's playing really great, and he seems to do all these amazing things late in the game. But you just got to start wondering now. I mean, every day it seems like, or every week when we talk about this, it seems like the spotlight is on somebody else. Well, the spotlight now is on Peterson. I mean, the spotlight's even away from Howie Roseman. It's just totally on Peterson. Like, what is going on? What's happening?
I listen.
I mean, all that talent, they got a lot of talent, man. And I mean, they've been able to do a lot of things with a lot of injuries. We know that. And you got to give Peterson some credit for that. No question about it. Because they do seem to not win. Even if they're not winning games, they're in every game at the end. I mean, this team could easily have squeezed out a few more wins because they just come on at the end. But haven't they always been a second half team? Haven't we been saying that for a couple of years now? So, where am I at? I love seeing what he's doing, but we know how this ends. This has no shelf life. This dude is going to get hurt. End of story. I hate to say that.
I know it's hard to disagree. It is. It's really hard. Trevor checking in. Al checking in. Trevor
What's up, Al? What's up, Trevor?
Is still on Howie Roseman in my book. Same, right? Says right. Jenna's checking in, says the NFC East shouldn't be allowed in the playoffs.
I think she's right. I think she's 100% right. They should all be thrown out.
Night, right? It could be the comment of the night. Trevor says that man still needs to be fired. Let's stop the slow start to the game. Dennis says 100%, right? We've been talking about that. Ruined today. Joe checks in. I want some Hurts, but I had to roll in 60+ yards, and Carson's feeling it like they did Thursday. And Phil is taking notes. Look out, world. That's it. All about the birds. Fantasy guy, Jason Sullivan.
Got my notebook. It's already full after 5 minutes.
I love it. Yeah, Phil, what's your thoughts on this, buddy?
Oh man, you said you're all in on Wentz. I've been all in on Wentz for years now. I love his talent, and I think with a proper team built around him, that's where I'm still on the Howie, is my number one enemy right now. But a couple of the words I wrote down. I write down words when I'm listening to other people talk. You said the word desperation, blinded, and talent with a question mark next to it. It's not desperation when there is no team around this guy. You got to look at the offensive line that he's working with, the rookie wide receivers that he's working with. Even now with Miles Sanders gone, and even when Miles Sanders was there, Doug Peterson's play calling was atrocious for him.
Atrocious.
Completely atrocious. He was, 25th or 29th in plays called for him, Miles Sanders, in the second half of ball games before he went down. So, I mean, you got a guy that's as top-level quality talent as Miles Sanders, and you're not giving him the ball. So, the one thing I wrote down that when you're saying desperation and all that other stuff was Brett Favre. I wrote down his name twice there while you were talking.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz has said that he idolized, Brett Favre, and his game is a lot like Brett Favre. It's not hard to imagine saying that if Carson Wentz can even be close to Brett Favre in his career, that it's not an overly successful Hall of Fame career. And I retired my Wentz is elite hashtag because I feel like I jinxed it by using it. But, Doug Peterson, Howie Roseman, all these other guys, in my opinion, are to fault for the season that Carson Wentz has had thus far. Not Carson Wentz, because I think the talent is there. He's just not being given the tools and the motivation, the play calling, whatever you want to call it, to really succeed this year. You got to put your players in. You got to put your players in a position to win.
Oh,
Andy Reid, for no question about that. We've heard that. You quoted Andy Reid, but it's right. I mean, he used to just say that as a vanilla excuse so he can get out of a press conference, so he didn't have to deal with Les Bowen. But it's totally right. I mean, when you think about it, though, the thing that bugged me about Wentz this year, and it still does, is just this dumb stuff that he does, the rookie stuff, the indecisiveness, the holding on to the ball. I mean, that sack that he took was just. What are you doing?
Brett Favre did the same thing.
Yeah, he did, but it doesn't give it. You're right.
You're trying to, you're pushing for as much as you can on every play. And I know
like
that
that's
not necessarily the right thing to do.
Sure.
But that's his mentality. Always looking for another yard, always looking for the big play. He doesn't want to accept that sack. And it frustrates me too, but I've come to this point to accept that.
But the guy is he's not fast. He's not gonna tuck the ball in and he can't. I mean, he can run. It's working right now, and I feel like Peterson's keeps going back to the well because that's the only way they're getting a lot of their offensive. They're getting offensive movement by using. I mean, he's rushing it. What does he have? 5 rushing touchdowns, something putting up some numbers rushing. But you keep going back to that well, you see what's going to happen. So I agree with you. He's got a lot of bad leadership around him. He's basically using players that every day somebody catches a ball and you're like, who? What? Who is this guy? We have no idea who the people are on this team, and he's doing stuff with them. But I feel like, well, at least in the first couple of games, it seems like he's been playing a lot better. But he did a lot of stuff that it just looked like he was regressing. I wouldn't go as far as to say he's regressing because he's finding all kinds of gritty, willy ways to keep the Eagles in games and winning. So I can't disagree with anything you said. It's just a frustrating guy. It's a frustrating team to watch. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen week in and week out.
Yeah, it's tough. John, I know you're a note taker too, buddy. You've been silent for the first 12 minutes. John's been silent, and I think
I'm letting you diehards dude. Let that steam out. Let it out. I want to hear it.
I think. Look, John, this comment's for you, John. Can we just talk about Tua? So, John is my guy. Look, you got a fan, John. You're a Pittsburgh fan. You know what I mean? Go ahead, John. What do you think?
Do not upset your fans, John. Let it all out.
Help us, Philly fans out, John. Help us out.
No. I mean, the comparison to Favre, who knows what he's going to be, but there's young quarterbacks that are out there. They kind of just, play with a chip on their shoulder. They do things that might not be the smartest, but they're always trying to get that extra yard. That's the competitor in them. They've done it all their lives as athletes and dominated at the collegiate level. And it's not easy to turn off that, that drive that you can always beat whoever you're going up against. These are now 260 plus pound linebackers that are coming full speed that want to take you out as a quarterback. So, but there's a lot of learning. I mean, Roethlisberger wasn't too far off of that. We said Favre. I mean, there's a lot of young quarterbacks that had great careers. But I mean, look, Wentz is still young. He missed a lot of time. Say what you want, but he missed
man. That's not young. He didn't just come into the league. But we got to stop that narrative. Okay. I don't mean to cut you off, but that narrative's got to be
how many full seasons has he played?
He
played his rookie year.
This ain't going to be a full season if he keeps running like that. I'm telling you that right now.
Exactly. Well, and that's one of my biggest takeaways of this game. Look, it was the Giants, number one. All right.
We keep forgetting that, by the way. Yeah, the Giants.
I think he is turning the corner, but it's off or on. Look, there are no weapons there, plain and simple. Play calling is not there, plain and simple. But at the same point, you look at some of his decision-making, the holding on to the ball, the bad throws. And I'm not saying he can do it on any given play, on any given throw, but it's the consistency, play after play, drive after drive through a whole game. Yes, look, what he did against Baltimore was, I mean, that's the Carson Wentz that we know and we want.
No
but
question.
he has to do it more consistently. And I'll tell you what, the thing that scares me the most is also the makeshift offensive line, like Phil said, because look, dude, there was 10 QB hits on him. That doesn't even count the 7 carries that he had.
Of course.
That means that, for the most part, he got contact 12 times. I don't know how many slides he had out of them 7 carries, but I mean, point is, look, he ain't going to be able to take that beating for a full year.
Look, what Al said, he's right. He's totally right. Look what he says. I mean, he says the same play is what we're all saying, what are you doing? Then he makes this unbelievable throw, and then we all forget about it. Remember, 2017, all of that big play stuff came from him running around and all these broken plays. And that's the reason why we won all those games. So it's like I feel hypocritical by saying, he doesn't want to run, because I don't want to see the guy get hurt. I don't want to see him to get hurt. I don't want to deal with that. Nobody wants to deal with that. But it's almost like, should we take a couple of steps back now, maybe specifically, and say, look, the guy is the guy. He's going to play the way he's going to play. And, for better or for worse, it is what it is with the guy, because him sitting in the pocket trying to throw accurate, that's not going to happen. He's not that kind of guy. He needs to run around a little bit, but maybe he should just learn to take a slide. I don't know.
No. Listen, I'm never going to. We talk about heart, right? Heart can't get you everything. We all agree with that. And John makes about makeshift offensive line. Off topic, real fast. I did not know Juan Castillo is back in the league. Like Chicago. Yeah, did you see their offensive line? I'm just saying, maybe Juan needs to go back out of football, but that's beside the point. But no, listen, I listen. I was going to point that out. Mike pointed that out. I completely agree with Al said. 100%. You got it's either you give and take or you pick a side, and it's all you have to do. You either have to learn how to give or take or pick a side. Phil, what do you think, buddy?
I'm on the side that he needs to stay the competitor, be the aggressive player that he is. You take the good with the bad. It's just what you do with him. He and I want to go backtrack for a second. I wasn't comparing. I saw somebody posted that he's not Brett Favre. He is not Brett Favre. I'm not saying he's at Brett Favre's level, but he's got the Brett Favre mindset and mentality. And that mentality led Brett Favre. Brett Favre didn't win his Super Bowl in his first 5 years. He won it later on in his career. Okay. So, I want that mentality. I want that heart. I want that always want to win. And I compare it to a pitcher in baseball pressing, because his offense can't score a run. So he's nibbling and he's pressing all the time. So all of a sudden he gets a little wild, starts walking batters, uncharacteristically. He's got to literally do, everything on this offense right now, because he's got no offensive line, no running backs, no wide receivers. He doesn't even have a tight end right now. Outside of Kroom catching a touchdown, Rodgers had a solid game, against the Giants. But again, he's playing with practice squad guys, so he's got to press, and that's where the mistakes come from.
No, you're right. I mean, he says it all the time. He says it all the time. I mean, a couple things we got going on here, and I think it's Scotty says it's one thing to scramble with the quarterback. That play, like those quarterback, like what honestly, and Mike was right. I mean, Marcus alluded to it with his article. I mean, number one, you already know that you're talking about a quarterback who's been injured in his career. You already know about an offensive line that's makeshift, like we've already, we've already admitted. So why are we running the draws again? I don't understand it all. I don't get it, especially when you run it once and the guy gets killed. You're gonna run it again. I don't understand at all. I don't get it, and it brings us back to the Doug Peterson effect, and it brings us back. Is it Doug? Or is it the team? And I think it's a little of both. It really is. I think it's obviously we know what the team is right now, but Doug is not helping, man. Doug is not helping. I mean, let's think about this way, honestly. Make a little bit of a comparison here. And I want to ask you guys this. So, and I get they do have a little more talent, right? But look what Kyle Shanahan is doing out with the San Francisco 49ers. How many injuries have they had this year? And are we making excuses for the San Francisco 49ers? No. He's still, listen, just because they lose Raheem Mostert, so what? They still run the ball. They lose Tevin Coleman, so what? They still run the ball. And they have an ultimate, in my opinion, stiff as a quarterback in Jimmy G, because I do not like Jimmy G at all. I think he's one of the softest. Between him and Kirk Cousins, I would have put them in a celebrity death match back in the day on like MTV and see who wins. And I think they'll both fall over before either one of them, honestly, but you got to give props to the Niners, and you got to give props to Kyle Shanahan, and that's the thing, and that's why obviously Kyle Shanahan's a better coach than Doug Peterson. Say what you want, but it's the truth. I mean, for you guys, I mean, is that a fair comparison to sit there and look at teams like that and say, okay, well, the Eagles have injuries too. Well, but you have to play to your players' strengths, right? You guys said it's not to beat a dead horse. You said this earlier. It was all about the Andy Reid, got to put players in positions to make plays. Know your talent, know your roster. And that's something that Doug's not doing right now.
Well, what about during the Super Bowl run? How many injuries did we take? We had 5 key injuries, right? And it was like the saying was next man up. And anybody they plugged in seemed to do great, right? So it's just, I feel like if you have the supporting cast around you, and that supporting cast is going to be able to not only get the players ready, get them conditioned, get them all ready to step in. I mean, it has to be a mixture of things, because nobody can just step in, right? I mean, people that are stepping in, but the guy has to be able to step in and perform at at a level close to whatever hole he's filling in for. So I don't see a lot of that. I think, and this will come back to something that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, and they can say whatever they want about the team, but I think that when you start off like that and when you're in a bad division and you're taking constant injuries and you're losing and you're throwing up ties, whatever, I think the morale and the culture has been affected a little bit. And I just don't think that, I think maybe, and I know this is crazy to say, but it may be the team that's starting to lose a little faith in what Peterson is doing. These plays are crazy. It's like he keeps going back to the well. It's like when you're playing Madden, right? And your favorite Madden play, right? You used to have this play that would be corner smash. Corner smash was like a guaranteed 10-yard gain if you had you had to have a special nickel defense in to stop it. And anytime you didn't see it, you would audible out and just use it. I feel that he's getting tunnel vision. He's just locking into a certain amount of plays, and he's not being creative. He used to be super creative with his playbook. And one could argue that the personnel isn't there because they're using guys they found in the locker room or the gym or whatever to fill in for holes. Maybe that's the case. But it's just that mojo and that flow that he had. It's just something is off.
Yeah, something is off, man. 100%. Trevor, one of the best. Can we get K McNown as a special guest referee for a death match? K McNown.
What a stiff that guy was. Oh, my God. Oh, my goodness. Stiff list.
Al checking it. Imagine Wentz in the 49ers offense. I mean, oof. I'll tell you what, man. I would like to see, Carson Wentz with Kyle Shanahan as a play caller. I'll tell you that because at least I know he wouldn't be throwing the ball 40 times a game, right, Phil?
Yeah, I mean, put Carson Wentz with his skill set on Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh, Seattle, with that talent. Hell, put him on the Falcons with Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. I mean, you give him weapons, he's going to be so much better. Even going back to 2017 when he had an MVP caliber season before he got hurt, a younger Alshon Jeffries, a Zach Ertz that was hungry at the time. The guy put up numbers and the play calling. And you said back to the well a bunch of times. I've written one word down like 4 times every time you guys start talking about Carson Wentz. Or not Carson Wentz, Doug Peterson. He had on what worked the best on Thursday night when they went on the opening drive up-tempo. And when did they go back to the up-tempo offense? Not till they were down and, in the last 3 minutes of the game. Old Doug Peterson sees that that's working and goes back to it 2, 3, 4 times throughout the game where, Carson feels comfortable in that up-tempo offense. And they're not doing it at all. And there's no explanation on why they're not, seeing what's working and sticking with it.
Yeah,
great not.
Yeah, I don't know why more NFL teams don't go up-tempo because I will tell you, anytime you see a team go up-tempo, dude, they just start taking off. Yeah. Things just start clicking no matter what it is. It could be a draw play. All of a sudden, you're getting yards on a draw play that's been stuffed all night. I mean, that up-tempo, I'll tell you what, that always is a good sign.
Pelotero says, Will Compton available, Eli Apple players getting dropped left and right. Players are getting dropped left. But I'll tell you what, unless it's a linebacker or a defensive end, I don't even want to talk about it because I don't think any of it helps, honestly. We need a linebacker and we need a defensive end. We need a pass rush, man. We need a pass rush. That's what we need. And it's inexcusable to have $30 million wrapped up in the middle of the defensive line that is doing absolutely nothing. Nothing. They're doing nothing. Nothing.
Oh, but Cogsy gets double teamed all the time. I love it when you hear that one.
Oh, that's such a
I hate that
narrative, man. I can't stand that.
I can't stand that either.
Javon Hargrave
he's so great.
Hargrave didn't make the stat sheet 3 times this year.
Just think about what you just said.
He played.
And how much is he getting?
For a stat.
How much is he getting? Think about what you just said.
A lot of money.
He's getting a ton. He has a huge contract, doesn't he?
Yeah, John. What's we got the guy right here to scout.
Yeah, let's ask John. Yeah, exactly. John, what's going on? What are you sending us?
I don't know. Kendrell Bell. You remember what he was with the Steelers? Went to the Chiefs to do nothing. Joey Porter left Steelers to do nothing. There's something to be said for the defensive scheme. I will tell you. Name me what player left the Steelers defense and was actually good. And I can name one. It's damn James Harrison, who wouldn't get in other than third downs and then wins the Super Bowl for the Patriots. But in reality, it has to do with the scheme. The players are, don't get me wrong, they're good players. When they get out of the scheme, they're just not as talented.
We've talked about this. We had a segment on this a couple of weeks ago when we talked about it. We were talking about Patrick Chung, and we were talking about Eric Rowe, and some of these guys that just used to get consistently roasted in Philadelphia. Yet they go to another organization, the Patriots, right? And everybody just sort of blew it off as, oh, well, it's New England. Bill Belichick can do anything with anybody. But now when you're seeing guys like Rasul Douglas step up, you start wondering, I hate to even say this. This pains me more than anything, but I'm going to say it. Was Howie right, or was he on the right trajectory?
I know it's, and again, you had the greatest question with that a couple weeks ago, and I continue every time I see a highlight of Sidney Jones, of Nelson Aguilar, Rasul Douglas, right? Every single time I think of what you said. Like, is it because we don't know how to use our players the proper way? Is it Howie with the wrong vision? With the right talent, but the wrong vision? I don't know what it is, but it's a really good point. It's a good question, because we can't allow every player to leave this offense or defense and go and flourish somewhere else. That's impossible. It just can't happen. We can't continue to watch that. There's got to be something set for that. Just has to be something set for that. And Jenna, if you want to give us D4 Quan Alexander, I know you're laughing, but I would take one of them any day of the week.
Yeah, we have no problem with that, Jenna.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And Al says, question, would Doug let Carson call his own plays a couple series a game? I don't know, Phil. I honestly think he does already.
Yeah, I mean, when he's doing the up-tempo offense, he's definitely calling those plays on his own. I don't know. I think the bigger question is, should Doug be calling the plays, period? And that's something we've talked about on our show a bunch, that why hasn't anyone said maybe you've lost your rhythm, even if it's not for – forever while he's with Philadelphia, if it's just for a 2 or 3 game stretch, just for him to step back from the offense. But when you don't have an offensive coordinator on your team, there's no one really to hand off that play calling duty to anyway. So, I would definitely like to see a little bit more of the up-tempo Carson running the offense the way he sees fit. I think it's inevitable, and I think it should happen right away.
So Peterson's cut from that Andy Reid cloth, though, right? Which is, hey, I'm calling the shots here.
That's true.
I'm going to call my own plays. He groomed them, right? Not for long, but he groomed them. So you wonder, will Peterson even think about making that type of a paradigm shift in order to say, hey, I need to lay off some of this. I am the overall, I'm the coach of the team. I got a lot of different things that I need to take care of. Maybe I need to bring in somebody that can manage this aspect of the game. I don't see him doing it, but that would be the right thing from a managerial perspective, of course.
And, we talk about a lot of guys coming back from injury, right? We need to get guys back. One of those guys is Jalen Reagor. And I know, listen, Mike, we're talking about guys who have left here and flourished, but we are talking about guys that we didn't pick that are flourishing in other systems, right? We continue to talk about DK Metcalf on the show. We all know that, right? We could talk about Justin Jefferson. Just think about this team could have Justin Jefferson, Miles Sanders, and DK Metcalf on the same offense. How ridiculous is that, right? But Jalen Reagor's back, and whether it's fair or not, unfortunately, Jalen Reagor gets labeled as a bust already, only because in the sense that he does indirectly. He does indirect because we know. We unfortunately let me ask you guys something before we go into Jalen Reagor, and this was brought up on the game, and when I was watching it, and it was actually brought up on Sunday Night Football, and somebody brought it up on the radio later, and they said, "What the hell?" Showed you, what did JJ Arcega-Whiteside show you that you said, wow, he's so much better than DK Metcalf? Like, I know there was some underlining stuff about maybe a little baggage, maybe DK having a little bit of an attitude, and you know what? This is where the whole Howie, I want a Stanford guy. I want the guy with the straight A's. I want the guy. Remember when they picked him, that's what they went to. This kid's got a huge future intellectually, and they went to that route. Unfortunately, Howie, that always doesn't make a best football player. I just don't understand it. But Phil, let me ask you real fast, going forward with this first question. John, I'll come to you about Jalen Reagor, because I know Phil is very passionate about Jalen, and I think Phil actually likes Jalen and thinks he could be a real weapon for this team. Can he be the answer right now this year?
Can he be the answer this year? Absolutely. Yes. I mean,
almost said senior, right?
First off, I was a Jefferson fan. I wanted Jefferson with that pick. After we missed out on CD Lamb, after we didn't make that trade, I wanted Jefferson.
That was the pick. It was right there.
The first 2 weeks, I mean, the Eagles, if you go back for years now, the Eagles have not been able to develop wide receivers. And the first 2 weeks, I know it was a very, very small sample size, but who was the leading receiver out of rookies the first 2 weeks of the season? Not Jefferson, not Chenault from Jacksonville, not T. Higgins. It was Jalen Reagor. He was right around 100 yards the first 2 weeks, and he was leading the league, and he was stretching the field, and he was opening things up for Dallas Goedert, for Miles Sanders, for the guys underneath. And having that weapon, especially now that Deshaun Jackson is pretty much done for the year, maybe he comes back really at the end of the year. But, I mean, his speed, and he's a lot more than just speed, Jalen Reagor. He's got hands, and he's got a little bit of that grit, and he can go over the middle, and you don't have to worry about him taking that big hit like Deshaun Jackson and then missing the next 3 weeks. So, I mean, Jalen Reagor opens up the offense for Travis Fulgham over the middle. Do whatever he's doing. Greg Ward on his 2-yard crossing routes that he runs. Jalen Reagor. Sorry, I have to throw a Greg Ward ribbon on every show I do.
Crossing routes.
Sorry,
that's all.
It's kind of true.
He gets 20 catches for 47 yards every game. But yes, Jalen Reagor.
Talk about going back to the well.
Yeah,
exactly. Jalen Reagor does, though, make this offense 100 times better if he's healthy.
Okay, that's a bold statement.
Yeah, John, what do you think, buddy?
Well, one of the biggest things Phil said, he said when Reagor was in there with Ertz and Sanders and Goddard, it's a big difference from being in there with Ward and Scott and Richard Rodgers.
Yeah.
All right. Plain and simple.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I mean, look, there needs to be more than him. He cannot alone do it. But yes, he's a weapon. There was no preseason this year. The dude was injured. He played 2 games and played admirably. You don't even know where he would be if he actually was coming into game 7. Like Phil said, look at Justin Jefferson. These guys didn't start out on fire. There was a lot of, work getting used to the NFL, getting used to your quarterback, getting used to the system. He's by far not a bust, but I don't think he can do it himself. He's definitely going to be a weapon. I mean, I almost had like a blank there for a minute because I was sitting there thinking, has there been 24 games that Deshaun Jackson has been on the roster for? And he's played 2 and got injured in both of them.
Nobody talks about that big.
Am I right on those numbers? I just started going back games. I'm like, all right, it was week 1 last year, right? And then
he got hurt week 2 last year.
Oh, it was week 2. All right. So
he got hurt in the first quarter of week 2 last year.
Okay. So, because he blew up week 1 and then it was, yeah. Yeah, after I thought I had the gem of a fantasy pick, dude goes down and
but you know what? Nobody talks about that big contract. Nobody talks about that, right? I mean, that's another big contract, right?
That's a bad one.
And unfortunately for Reagor, here's a problem with Reagor. Whether he's good or he's bad, it doesn't matter. The problem is we all see what everybody else is doing. We all wanted somebody else. That's what it is. We all wanted somebody else. So he's going to have to be that much more electric than everybody else for us to be happy, right? If he comes in and gets 5 catches for 40 yards, he's a bust. If he comes in for 7 for 60, he's a bust. Unless he's electric and he's throwing up Justin Jefferson numbers, we're all going to be mad. And again, we have to look at Brandon Ayuk in San Francisco. Listen, I'll tell you what. I liked Ayuk. I said if they're not going to pick Jefferson, they need to take Ayuk. I think this kid has role. I mean, you see him hurdling over guys. I just don't say that from Reagor. I don't. I think Reagor is a complement piece, not a main piece. And Justin Jefferson is a main piece. That's the problem. We drafted a second piece, and that's my biggest issue, no matter what, with Jalen Reagor.
Agreed. TCU guy. A lot of speed. Maybe he gets on the field, pulls a couple of D-backs away, opens up some another crossing route so Greg Ward can get another 2 yards on his crossing patterns. He might open it up a little bit, but bottom line, let me just ask you this real quick. How come everybody during these drafts are all saying the same thing? Like you're sitting around and you're waiting for the Eagles to draft. Like, oh, they're going to draft Jefferson. Oh, great, he's there. Oh, wait, they might take a shot at CeeDee Lamb. Oh, wait, okay, they're going to get Metcalf. How come everybody, like friends of mine, these are people that have they don't work in football. They don't know anything. They play fantasy football just like the rest of us. Why do we all know? And they pick these picks that, like, when they drafted Jalen Reagor, we're like, what? Like, everybody was so surprised. Not as obviously as surprised as the Hurts pick, but that's going off on another tangent. Do I think he'll help? Speed will help. If he can run a good route, it'll help. It's only going to help open up some things. And you never know, but you do have to ask yourself this question. I'm going to keep going back to this because, when you see these draft picks that Howie made, and I'm no Howie fan, okay? I can't stand the guy. I was calling for the guy to be fired for years now, all right? So trust me, I'm not a Howie guy, but we got to play devil's advocate here. I mean, what would JJ Arcega-Whiteside look on the Seahawks? I mean, we don't know. Would Metcalf come here and be a complete bust because they're not using him the right way? I mean, who knows? Nobody knows the answers to these questions, and we can continue to guess.
No, you're right. And Trevor gives a good comment. He says Brandon Ayuk was coached by actual NFL coaches in Herm Edwards, right?
That's a good point.
The last player that was electric from TCU was LT, and that's it. I mean, that's it. It's true. And Trevor, real fast, you say that was a trade. Yes, you are correct. That Deshaun Jackson was a trade, but they had to sign him to an extended contract. So that's what I mean. That's a bad contract.
That was a big contract too, right? What did he get? How much did he get?
3 year, 30, 20 million or something. I don't. It was. I mean, getting like 12 million guaranteed or something. I mean, he got a pretty decent amount of money. For his age, right? I mean, honestly, for his age.
And how are we supposed to be from the banner? Oh, yeah.
Well,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that's a lot of money for his hamstrings.
That is. You're right. Al says, I think Reagor is a better Percy Harvin. That's interesting.
That's an interesting comparison.
I really like Percy Harvin. And if he didn't have the bad hips, Percy Harvin, man, I'll tell you what, he was a stud.
He had a lot of hype too coming out, man.
Yeah, wasn't it migraines? Didn't migraines do him in?
Yeah. Was it migraines?
I think I heard about. I remember the hot migraine issue.
Okay,
yeah, that was migraines.
Migraines. I thought it was hips.
I mean, I don't know why he officially retired. Who knows?
That's one of those.
Migraines.
Robert says Howie Roseman is a moron. The future of this team is a dumpster fire. Howie is the alley cat hanging out in the free agent dumpster looking for golden scraps.
Wow. I wonder how he really feels about him.
Yeah, tell us how you really feel about Howie Roseman, Robert.
I love it, man. I love it. Man, yeah, that's Howie. Trevor's gonna get the numbers. Jenna says, I feel like Lane Johnson needs to sit out a few games and rest up. He's acting like a Jason Peters. I'll tell you what, though, Lane's a warrior. All right. Is there any tougher guy you'd rather battle with than Lane Johnson?
He was pissed when he had to come off too. He's mad. He's just, he looks disappointed.
Hold on, but you call Lane a warrior. Were you calling Jason Peters the last year or two a warrior when he was coming in and out of games? Because this comment is very accurate. He is playing like Jason Peters, coming in and out of games. So,
yeah, but for legitimate reasons,
I don't think she meant it in that context. I don't think she meant it that way.
No, Phil.
But I've been talking about that for weeks on my show.
Right.
He's got the Jason Peters mentality right now. He's got to come out all the time. Nobody was calling Jason Peters a warrior last year.
That's for sure.
I never tell you what, I'm a big Jason Peters guy. I'll always be a Jason Peters guy, warrior or not, right? I mean, listen, I go back to one thing, just one thing. I won't get on a tangent. Wow, Trevor's giving us some mad numbers in these comments. We need to see these. But one thing I will say, what did Jordan Mailata say after his big game? First thing he said is, I owe all the credit to Lane Johnson and Jason Peters. Again, that signing to me worth its weight in gold. I will say this to the heavens till I die. Okay, if Jordan Mailata can be able to come in and play like he did, because a direct effect of bringing Jason Peters back, God damn it, it's a 100% lockdown deal. That's what I'm saying. I mean, this is what I was talking about for months. I don't care if Jason Peters played. I wanted him here as a guy to help groom a guy like Jordan Mailata. And God damn it, what did he do? Look at Jordan Mailata right now. He's becoming a beast. Absolutely. Now, I'll tell you this, Phil, 100%. I'll go with you any day of the week, but I'll tell you this. I will not put Jason Peters back in right now.
Oh, I'm not putting him back in. I mean, I
agree with you with that.
Yeah, I'm not. I might play him at right guard, maybe, but I'm not putting him at left tackle. It is Jordan Mailata the rest of the season, 110%. And I wrote Jordan Mailata off last year. I wanted him cut before last season because I gave up on that experiment, and I will admit it. I always admit when I'm wrong. It seems like I was wrong on Mailata 100%. So he is your starting left tackle for the rest of the season, and I'll be really disappointed in Doug if he benches him when Peters is ready. Really disappointed there.
Yeah, I hope not, man.
Don't forget about Jeff Stoutland too. Okay, everybody's giving Peters and everybody's giving Peters and Lane Johnson all this credit, and I'm sure they're mentoring him. But I think a lot of that credit goes to Stoutland. I don't know.
Can you give Jeff Stoutland Coach of the Year award after that? You know, he deserves Coach of the Year after what he's done with this line.
No
best
question
offensive line coach in all football, right?
No question.
Offensive line coach,
hands down.
So Deshaun, it's courtesy of Trevor, went our man going and getting us some stats. Deshaun Jackson signed a 3-year, $27.9 million contract.
Whoa!
Right, includes $7 million sign-on bonus and $15 million guaranteed annual salary of $9.3 million. Okay, nobody talks about that. Carrying a cap hit of 8.6 and a dead cap value of 14.3.
He's going nowhere. He's going nowhere.
He's going nowhere.
Nowhere.
Absolutely nowhere. He's sitting on this team, right? Again. And we can't even sign a freaking linebacker. Think about that. And that, again, it brings us all back to Howie Roseman. Thanks a lot, Trevor.
Yeah, nice stat there.
Robert says the O-line has nowhere else to turn due to you-know-who. I guess we'll just draft another 26-year-old fireman in the first round.
Danny Watkins.
Here's what I want to say, because I want to go up to one of these comments that talked about mobility. I think it was Robert. And I want to ask you guys, he talks about, I think the Rams versus the Bears showed the Eagles fans how to utilize a mobile quarterback. Motion went Reagor or Ward or Hurts prior to snap freeze. The defenses will open up the field for the run and the pass. I'm going to say something here, man, honestly. And again, I watched that game, and I don't want to open a well up here, but I know I'm going to.
Here it comes.
But I watched the Seattle and Arizona game again, and I watched the next day again. And I watched Russell Wilson, and I watched Kyler Murray. And this week I'm going to watch Tua. And I said to myself, and they said it all throughout the broadcast, this is the future of the NFL. So again, this is my thing, man. Again, the reason why they drafted Jalen Hurts. Whether or not we agree with it, you can't tell me that they are projecting him to be the future quarterback of this team. It just made my mind. I know. Listen, 4 years is not a huge number, right? It's not a huge number. I know Al said earlier, 4 years, he's here for the next 4 years. You're right. Carson Wentz is here for 4 years. But what I'm saying is, when everybody was so mad about that pick, and I was included, but now I see it. I get it. I do. I get it because, again, when you watch the mobility and the position change, they are changing the landscape of the quarterback position. Ben Roethlisberger, those guys are washed, man. He's playing well this year, but that kind of guy is washed. You will never come in the league and be a Ben Roethlisberger. You won't. You won't make it. Everybody wants a Kyler Murray. Everybody.
All I want to say there, no, I don't disagree with you, but these young guys, I see Joe Burrow as potentially the next quarterback of that type. Baker Mayfield is the same type.
Yeah.
Look, these guys are young, and yes, they could use their legs now. Wait till they're 30. You really think they're going to be putting that up? So there is still
shelf life, John.
You want to talk about shelf life? I want to see what the shelf life is of Kyler Murray and some of these guys that rely only on their legs. RG3. You know what I mean? Kelly Smith.
You have something
how many do I got to say? But look, if you want to have longevity in the league, you need to learn how to be a passer. And when these guys, I'm not saying that they're run first, but they win games because of it. And you want to talk about shelf life? Yeah, I will say the day and age now is, you know what? Why not just get these young guys that know what they're doing, win for a bunch of years, and not have to pay them for when they get older? Hopefully people are smart enough not to pay these guys a ton of money if they're going to lose their mobility, towards the end of the contract. But I agree with you that, yes, right now you're looking to win now and what the quarterbacks could do now. Yes. How many of these top 10 quarterbacks that are running quarterbacks are going to be here in 6 years? being a top 15 quarterback, I don't know.
So Trevor said Christian Ponder. What a stiff that guy was.
Hey, he lucked out, you know?
Yeah, he lucked out.
Out of the league, and he could sit at home and do whatever he wants now.
I'm sure he doesn't want to be doing that, but you're right. Real quick, Tone, quick point on what you just said. Don't you think that the NFL was sort of quasi already in love with that running quarterback type? I mean, you've seen drafts all the way back to, McNabb. Geez, when McNabb came into the league, he was the best on his feet. Donovan McNabb, when he ran, was electrifying. We love the guy, right? It only got really strange with the guy when he tried to become a pocket passer. That hurt a lot of his offensive production. But when he was running, forget it.
I think it's a little different, though. I think it's a little different.
You think the trend's going that way now? When
we're talking, these aren't just runners; these are quarterbacks. Like certain guys were runners, I get it, but Achilles Smith was a runner.
Yeah,
Geno Smith was a runner, right? Right? Seriously, you can believe? Let me ask you. You know what? Sunday Night Football, it's overtime, and you send out Geno Smith for a coin toss.
Poor guy.
Are you kidding me?
That was horrible.
Nobody else gets that than Geno Smith, but whatever. That's another time for another day. But my thing is, these are quarterbacks, right? Kyler Murray is a friggin' quarterback.
Yeah.
He's not a runner, right? He's a run. These are, and I'm telling you, every Pop Warner League right now is developing that next guy because exactly what John said. Because now the shelf life is not going to be a 15-year quarterback anymore. It's going to be 10. 2 contracts is what you're going to get. You get your rookie deal and your next extension, and that's it. That's it. 10 years to me. So it's going to continue to evolve. So Carson Wentz has 4 years, and he's done. And then guess what? Before then or at that point, it's Jalen Hurts' squad. That's it, right? That's the way
Jalen Hurts sits, though, for so long before he becomes a starter. Do you think that why not just draft this prototype quarterback later, a couple of years later? Why draft him now, especially when they had so many more needs? Do you think it was just a durability issue, or they were nervous that he was going to get popped again, or what?
I think it was.
Why take him now?
Well, I think we talked about last week a little bit. I think it was a CYA cover your ass a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's right. We did. Yeah, we did. We circled on that point.
I still think it's a cover your ass move for Howie for Doug, right? We talked about this. So that if if Jalen has to play, then they can put the onus on Jalen being a rookie. And, if he doesn't have to play, they can say, hey, listen, we got him as back. Look at Carson. He's out there. He's not playing well. So we did everything we could. So that's why I think the pick.
Thanks for bringing me back to baseline. Okay, got it.
that's Trevor says Kyler needs to stop wearing baggy long sleeve shirts and being pulled back like a rubber band.
Okay.
Mike Vick, Robert says Mike Vick and Randall Cunningham bring that wow factor, but breaking down the offensive schematics pre-snap was atrocious. Buddy Ryan's offensive play and throw deep will work. Vick had the flash in the pan under Andy, but that was short-lived. Patrick Queen looked damn good against us in the ball. He has the Patrick Queen in there at the end because that was the linebacker that was there, right? That was there. And
nice
before I get to Phil, Al says the only thing that makes sense is he is a trade piece. I disagree with that. I do. I think he's your quarterback, man. I do. I'm telling you right now.
To say that Wentz is the trade piece.
Yes, exactly.
Is that do you really think that? You really think?
I didn't think that at the beginning, but as the season has gone on, I've kind of come to the grips that because you're saying he's here for 4 years, I forget the details. Johnny is on our show is great with the contracts and all. There's an out after 2 years on that contract.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
So he's not necessarily our quarterback for 4 more years, Carson. He's our quarterback for 2 more years under that deal. But what I wanted to say, it's not Kyler Murray. You don't need the Kyler Murray or the Russell Westbrook running. What you need is the right offensive game plan. You look at the Rams and the 49ers, they don't have that running quarterback. But they do, as the comment said before with Reagor and Ward and the motion. Jim Schwartz said before the Rams game, he brought up they run a lot of dipsy-doos and this and that really don't lead anywhere but a basic play. But if your defense can't stay focused, those dipsy-do plays, or whatever you want to call them, really, throw you off. So if you put Carson Wentz, as you brought up before, Tony, with Kyle Shanahan calling the plays, with all the motions that he runs, you're going to see a much more effective Carson Wentz.
I could see that. I can definitely see what you're saying. 100%.
Certainly, it's certainly a good argument.
It's
it is.
play calling, and it's the motions and the movement that you put on the line that confuses defense. We do none of that on our offense. So it's you line up, you see where everybody is, and the defense knows where the play is coming. So you don't necessarily need Kyler Murray. You just need the creativity that the league is changing to right now in your offense. And you don't need a running quarterback to run that creativity. You just need a play caller that can call those kind of plays.
What about that crap that Peterson fed us in the beginning of the season, saying that Carson Wentz is having trouble absorbing the playbook? How come nobody brings that up? What about that? What about absorbing the playbook? So maybe Peterson has vanilla down the offense because they can't execute it or something's going. I mean, he said that. We're not just making it up. This came out of Peterson's mouth. So Peterson was like this wizard, right? Like Marcus called him a Picasso of play calling. He was amazing. He couldn't call anything wrong, right? I mean, John brought up that point a couple of weeks ago. Anything he said worked. He had that flow. And now all of a sudden everything looks vanilla. Why?
That's a good point.
Nobody actually followed up with Doug Peterson on that comment.
No.
Not one media member out there, because I would love to know more about that, because he did not look like he was struggling with the playbook, in 2017. He didn't look like he was struggling with it at the end of last year when he was carrying, practice squad players to the playoffs. So where did that all come from? Was that a slip of the tongue that didn't make sense? Who knows, where that came from? But not one media member followed that up with at all once this year on, that question. I would love to hear more from Doug on that comment.
I think the media has been pretty light with Peterson, man.
Oh, majorly light.
They're not nailing him to the wall at all with questions that need to be asked at all. And then maybe it's 2020 and it's a weird year, and everybody's playing with all different types of stress, and we don't have no idea what's going on in people's lives. Everybody's struggling in one way or another. It's just and maybe that's why. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's the election. It could be a bunch of stuff, but these questions have to be asked. It looks like a dysfunctional family, and Wentz is just doing whatever he can with his raw talent to try to win games. That's what it looks like. It's Randall Buddy. It's a mess. It's a mess. Let's change the subject. Let's get off of this.
This is the Eagles Dallas week, man. This is the Eagles Dallas week. This is something we live for.
Let's talk about trashing the Cowboys.
Let's talk about Ben DiNucci. Can we talk about Ben DiNucci?
Let's talk about DiNucci. Exactly. Yeah.
Listen. I mean, it sounds like a hoagie I got from Marinucci's, right?
Yeah. Give me the DiNucci with extra hot pepper, long hots.
Exactly.
See, and I thought it was a pastry or something. Give me one of them DiNucci's.
I had to check my Holy Cross 1993 yearbook from 8th grade to see if his name was in it somewhere.
Are you serious?
Sure.
Well, it's amazing, man, because I can't.
I love it.
This is the guy we're playing. And let me just ask you boys something, because we don't even have to spend a ton of time on this. I have some videos. I'm going to bring back some highlights for you, but is there what in God's name could happen? Because I'll tell you what, that Dallas team is a complete dumpster fire. I don't know what the hell is going on. I'll tell you what, I was so wrong with Mike McCarthy. Maybe he's just completely lost it. I have no idea. But that team, to me, what happened to their offense?
The players think he's a joke.
They you hear it already.
They think he's a joke.
And
hey.
Andy Dalton got lit up. And nobody did anything.
That's horrible.
That was disgusting. You would not see if Carson. You would not see that on the.
No.
That was horrible. Horrible.
And I can't believe Bostic actually was wondering, like, you see him, he's like, what did I do? Are you kidding?
Yeah, that was another. What was that exactly?
And the league came out and said he was not being suspended for that hit at all.
That's crazy.
That's
a Vontae perfect move. That's what that is.
I mean, you can clearly see he lowered his elbow and he totally went after his head. It was horrible. He's lucky it wasn't worse.
Yeah,
but that's a shame. It's that team is in trouble, obviously. But the worst part about it is that it looks like they've given up. So now what scares me, man. I hate to say this, but when you get somebody, the team's got their back against the wall. This kid's got something to prove, and he's got really nothing to lose. So he's playing with house money.
He's got Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Ezekiel Elliott.
There's weapons out there, just like Phil said. He's got weapons out there. I mean, what if these kids start making plays?
Our defense hasn't been that great this year.
Oh,
So, Tone, you said what do you think can happen? What's possible? We know it's possible. What's the line on the game?
That's what I was going to say.
I know you were going there,
line?
John. What's the line on the game?
What's
Does
the
anybody know?
line?
Someone pull a stat. Trevor, you'll probably have the stat in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, Trevor will pull. Trevor, if you give us a line for that game.
Oh, hold on. I got to go to my bookie, Ben DiNucci.
Ben DiNucci. But you know what, man? Here's the thing. This has been going on for many, many years. And we see, and I'll tell you what, I am so pumped up about this week, even though I can't believe this game's not going to get flexed. Like, are they really going to put this on Sunday Night Football? Like, I'm shocked. I am shocked this game isn't getting flexed. But it is.
It's Philly. It sells ratings no matter how bad the teams are.
Crazy. It's
Donatucci is going to get some playing time, or DiNucci, or what is it? Finucci? Finucci from The Godfather. What's his last name?
Al's got the number for us. 3.5.
Wow, it's going down.
3.5.
6.5 earlier.
That's what
Trevor says 7.5.
Yeah, I'm bringing
saw.
up my sports book thing right now. Here, hold on.
FanDuel Sportsbook.
Eagles minus 7.5 against Finucci.
Yeah. That's what I thought it was at too.
Well, Mike, this one's for you. So while we're looking at these numbers, check this out. This was you brought up Donovan McNabb earlier. This is one of the all-time favorite moments in the Dallas rivalry.
Four-man rush. And then coming through at the last moment, but escaping. McNabb rolling to the outside, coming back this way. Has a lot of room. Is going to launch one. He was behind the line of scrimmage, and that is Freddie Mitchell making the catch.
With the people's champ signal and everybody. That's just epic. Yes, that's just epic.
How there was no holding on that call on that play?
I know.
I mean, it's the first thing you think of today, but we forget. I brought up McNabb because we forget. It's easy to forget. Right. It was unbelievably electrifying, man. That was amazing.
Yes, it was.
And jersey's hanging up right back there. Always. I rotate all those shirts back there. He stays up there all the time.
Number 5 will always love you, Phil.
That's right. You called me out for quoting Andy Reid earlier.
I can't help it.
I call you out for that quote.
It's branded.
You know, it's just like Mike said. I think we do. I think we forget. I think we forget how good we had it, and you know, that's why I brought it up this last week about Donovan, because I don't think he gets enough love. I don't care if he loves himself. I don't care. Listen, at the end of the day, and I know he was soft in the sense that he was sensitive because he got booed and he didn't understand. He never related with the fan base. He never understood. Okay, oh wow, Al's got man heat for Dom. Like, I won't even say his name. He was a bum. See, I can't say that, Al.
No.
I can't say. I can listen. He was one of the, if not the best quarterback in Philadelphia Eagles history.
You know what I was thinking? He's thinking this. He's thinking, dude, 4 NFC championships. You know what he's thinking. And everybody thinks.
How many quarterbacks make it to that many NFC championship games?
No question. It's like saying, "Oh, Jim Kelly sucks." I get it. I know the argument, and I'm not disagreeing with you. But being from Philadelphia, he just had this smug attitude. That air guitar crap. That just it just killed everybody. And it's like he acts like a winner, and he was a winner to some degree, but it's like, always the bridesmaid, never the bride, like that kind of guy, like always second, right? But he was a baller. There's no question about it. Was he a baller? And Andy Reid could have easily picked that stiff Akili Smith or the other one, Tim Couch. It could have went that way. And then what? We have 15 years of losing.
Wait, Al Clare, not him, the guy that caught that pass.
Oh, Freddie. Fred X.
Fred X.
No, but you know what? But what he says is right, though, because I will tell you, so many Eagle fans, you either love McNabb or hate McNabb. Like, that's just what it is. There's like no in between. Like, he was all right. It's either like you love him or you hate him because he never got you all the way there. But I will say, and look, the Super Bowl, that was a couple years ago and everything. But you look at, that was like 10 years of competition in the playoffs and the NFC championship game. I mean, every week for an entire decade, it was basically this team is relevant. This team is going to the Super Bowl. So until you lose that year, I mean, that's 10 years of just success. You may have not gotten to the ultimate, and it might have been a lot of disappointments, but I mean, there's 32 teams out there, 31 are disappointed.
But when he was done, he was done, John. When he was done, he was done. Brian Dawkins
absolutely.
cried. He cried.
Oh,
did he even go to the Super Bowl? He's not even involved in the team anymore. He just packed up and left.
Look.
So he was great. I loved him. He was a great quarterback, but he does not fit in the city. Goodbye. Don't ever come back. I can't stand that guy. I love the way he played, but his attitude never worked in the city.
And that is
go away, McNabb. Go away. Go away.
But you know what? In reality, and not to burst any bubbles, that's not just Philly. That's anywhere. Like, you have a guy that would, like, you were successful with, and this is your city, and you don't, like, you know what I mean? It's like, screw that guy. That's anybody's mentality.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely had an issue with getting that relationship with the fans. He always did. And it all went back from Angelo Cataldi and the Dirty 30. That's where it all stemmed from.
That's where
Angelo Cataldi and the Dirty 30. Right?
The Ricky Williams thing. And good thing we didn't take Ricky Williams, because he was out of the league 5 years because he wanted to smoke dope all day long.
He couldn't give up to play football.
He couldn't stop.
Like, bro, you could have played for 8 years, made about $100 million, and smoked all the weed you wanted. Like, it's crazy. It's just absolutely crazy.
He said, "Nah, I'm cool."
Yeah, he said, he did say, "Nah, I'm cool."
We ran Andy Reid out of town. We sort of ran McNabb out of town. We're savages. We're animals. We're ignorant. We're idiots. We're emotional. That's just who we are. And looking back right now in hindsight, we don't know. We don't realize. Maybe we realize it now. How good did we really have it? Because you guys all made excellent points, and now we're just sorry saps.
So we gotta hit this, because we got about a little bit left. Hold on, I gotta throw this up there so we get this. So the Eagles trivia question we have every week that everybody loves, and I'm way late on it. I apologize, but this is a good one. This is a really good one. Which three players of the 2017 Eagles had already won a Super Bowl ring with the 2012 Ravens?
Okay, I think I got two of these. I don't know.
I'll tell you what. When I looked it up and I got two, and then I would have never got the third one.
Right, the third one is where I'm drawing a blank, but I think I got the two.
Yeah, it's just a tough one. It's a tough one. So again, anybody listening out there, anybody watching this, which three players of 2017 Eagles had already won a Super Bowl?
And no Googling. We'll know if you Google it. Don't cheat.
Yeah, please don't say. Just give us some names, man.
Don't ask Siri. I mean? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, just for the fun of it, you got to give us some names.
Joselio Hansen was the answer last week, and even Siri would have dug that deep. I don't know where you found that at, Tony.
Joselio Hansen. That was a great one.
That was a good one.
That was an absolute great one. But this is Eagles Dallas week. Let's just, before we get into a couple other things, and kind of, because I don't want to go 2 hours on this show. We went 2 hours. It was crazy, man. I can't believe we went 2 hours.
You didn't tell me that when you sent me the link 2 hours.
No, not tonight, Phil. Not tonight. It was one of those, like, we just kept going on and on and on, right? So
it was 30 minutes on Eminem.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was 20 minutes. Well, we could spend 20 minutes on the Beastie Boys.
I know. I got some. I did more research on the Beastie Boys than I did on anything else.
In literally 5 minutes, but I just got to touch on something real fast before we get to predictions for this Dallas game. This I don't know why. No, it has nothing to do with Philadelphia, but this Jeff Garcia thing is just killing me. It's killing me. Listen. First of all, like, seriously, like, what in God's name do you need to start talking about the clothes a guy wears, and relate that to the game of football? Like, are you kidding me, Jeff? Like, what the hell did Jeff ever do? And he must need more followers on Instagram or Twitter. I don't know. But listen, I get Cam Newton at a bad game. So Cam Newton has been one of the most, between him and Ryan Fitzpatrick, one of the most dapper dressed, males in the NFL for how many years? And all of a sudden now he's not allowed to dress like that because he got benched. Like, seriously, think how stupid. How does Jeff Garcia have a job and not any one of us have a job on that network? Are you kidding me? That's such a stupid statement. So let me ask you, what was he supposed to wear? Like, seriously, was he supposed to wear, like, gym shorts and a polo? Like, what was acceptable gear to be benched, Jeff? That's what I need to ask. What was the acceptable gear? Like, does anybody else feel so passionate?
It seems like there's some issues there. They had to have a personal issue, some jealousy issues there, or whatever. That's all it sounds like. There's probably something that happened between these guys that we don't know about. And it just sounds like, Cam Newton gets picked up by the Patriots. He's still playing. He's still making money, and Garcia's just hating on him. That's what it is.
Garcia's a bum.
I mean, I don't know what the back issue is on it, but you know what? I actually slightly agree with Jeff Garcia.
Get out of here, really?
I don't think his dress is dapper at all. I think it is ludicrous the way Cam Newton dresses.
I love it.
I'm a Cam Newton guy. I put a few little bets on him winning MVP this year because I love the odds. And I thought a comeback with Bill Belichick, he was 66-1 to win the MVP. I threw a couple pennies that way and all.
Couple shekels?
But yeah, a couple shekels that way. Exactly. But what does Cam Newton won? Everybody says what does Jeff Garcia won? What's Cam Newton won? Cam Newton is a poor man's Donovan McNabb. He's won less than Donovan McNabb has.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good way to describe it.
And let me say, Jeff Garcia, I was researching because I didn't even know Jeff Garcia had a job. And he made comments years ago about Kaepernick and saying that, kneeling. He was making a comment about, military and the thousands that died for our freedom. That just said, like, Jeff Garcia is an idiot. He completely is an idiot.
We know he's an idiot.
But you know what? Cam Newton's dress is, I don't know. It doesn't do anything for me. And Cam Newton hasn't done anything.
You know why it doesn't do nothing for you, Phil? Because you're a Delco guy. Right?
Here we go.
Listen. When you grow up in the inner city of Philadelphia, you know a good game, man. It's all about the dress. It's all about
more
the gear.
about that dress than he does winning games.
Yeah, but
what
does that have to do
He's
with
right there with Russell Westbrook and James Harden and all these other guys that care more about their Instagram images than they do about Ben Simmons putting all these videos of him out there, these professional photos of taking shots.
But this is different. This is who Cam is, though. This is my issue. This is who Cam is, right? Right? Listen, honestly.
That's the generation today, man. And the people that are complaining about it are just like, you might as well just say, get the F off my lawn. I'm old and I don't like this new style. They did the same thing when AI was coming up, when he put the cornrows in and everybody says he should have a suit on. Like, suit? Why? He just came from a basketball game. Let him wear whatever he wants. He changed the whole game when it came to that. So, I don't care what the guy wears or anything. He wear a wig on his head, but he should be winning, and he's not winning. So, Garcia is just Garcia is a get the F off my lawn. That's what Garcia is. He needs. Why is he even relevant? He just needs to go away.
Yeah.
You sucked as a player. You sucked as an Eagle. You stink. Go away.
As he gets older, he looks more and more like Skeletor too. Like it's ridiculous.
Go away.
Like seriously,
Garcia.
John, Jenna wants to know what you think about Cam Newton.
The crypt keeper.
The crypt. There you go. For Tales from the Crypt.
Look, you have your own style. You're gonna wear that style, whatever. All right. Look, it ain't my style. I mean,
me neither.
Yeah, whether you start or get benched, if the media attention's on you, you do whatever it is. Like I said, I wouldn't do it, but if I know I'm going to have, even if I'm riding the pine and I know I'm going to be in interviews for the next hour, I'm not going to show up and, whatever. So you dress however you want.
What he probably meant, that's a good point, John, but what he probably meant was like you lost and you should take it looks like you're shining in your loss. That's what he meant, because Garcia doesn't understand the new generation. I'm not saying I agree with the new generation. Okay. I agree with a lot what Phil said with Ben Simmons and the professional photo. Don't even get me started on Ben Simmons. All right.
Well,
I agree with a lot of that stuff. All right. But I think just Garcia is just stuck in another generation. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't even know what Instagram is, I'm sure.
I thought we already established that. I moved on beyond Garcia. Has no idea. I was just talking about the attire and whether you're benched or not. That's what it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't wear that.
Whoever was in that interview with him brought up Joe Namath and the fur coat, and Jeff Garcia made a good point. Joe Namath called his shot and won the Super Bowl and followed through with it, so he can wear whatever ugly fur coat he wants. Cam Newton just needs to tone his image down a little bit until he wins.
According to the Jeff Garcia PR department, we need to sharpen up
Cam because he's an idiot and he's a whatever he is. But
Jeff Garcia win a Super Bowl?
Was he?
Unless he was on the bench.
Was he a backup to
that's what
Steve Young?
My point is he didn't, right? So
I don't know.
Cam Newton led a team to the Super Bowl. I don't care if he lost or not. Cam Newton led a team to the Super Bowl,
and he won an MVP.
Did not. right? So that's all that I have to say about that.
Oh, you mean one of those running quarterbacks that can't pass? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm glad he's benched now. See, just proving my point.
Garcia did a fair share of running.
Look, Mike's got Al going now. Hold on. What does he have to say about Ben? That's Ben's Al's boy. We can't even get started on that.
Actually, I
open up. That's going
jersey on right now.
It's going to turn into a 2-hour show. I'm telling you, let's not even talk about that.
Look, Al, we'll do a little segment. We'll do a segment on Ben Simmons next week. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to upset you, sir, but I do have some reservations about this guy, and I'm going to take you in a little bit of a different direction next week. Okay.
I love it. Again, trivia question: which 3 players of the 2017 Eagles had already won a Super Bowl ring with the 2012 Ravens? I know Trevor checked in with one guy. He says Torrey Smith. So we'll see if anybody can get. Jenna checked in Torrey Smith and Jernigan. Now, it wasn't Jernigan. That's a good guess. I forgot about Timmy Jernigan.
You know what? That was my guess.
That's good. Guess.
That's a nice pull. Yeah, I guess.
Nice, Jenna. Nice.
Yeah, nice.
I will tell you, Torrey Smith, Jenna, and Trevor do have at least Torrey Smith. He is one of those guys. But speaking of, being, stylistic and a millennial style and dress. Before we get into this Beastie Boys, let's just throw this out there. Okay, let's just throw this out there real fast and get us ready because it's got me hyped watching this.
It's a little story that I got to tell about 3 bad brothers that you know so well. It started way back in history with that rock, MCA, and me, Mike D. Hello, everyone. What we're gonna do right here is go back, way back into time.
I'll tell you what, this is one of the, we started this last week, and I want to open up to a different segment at least one time per show. Give us something different. We all love music, and music is so synonymous with all of our lifetimes. And I just happened to be watching something the other night. I watch YouTube a lot, and I went up watching the 2012 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction of the Beastie Boys. And I was watching one of my all-time favorites, and Chuck D from Public Enemy, and LL Cool J, who was another topic for another time, who was completely underrated when it comes to the rap game, in my opinion, because he's almost built the game, and he doesn't get enough credit. But hearing the Beastie Boys again, and hearing the story, and going down that trail back to 1987, and I was just thinking, like, okay, number one, I will say this. They're not hip-hop. They're rap. Like, people have to stop. They're rap and rock. They're not hip hop. Hip hop was not. There was no hip hop in 1987, right? I that's one thing I have arguments with people. Hip hop and rap are 2 different genres, in my opinion. So they were rap to me. They built the rap game as a group. I'll tell you what, man, they were unbelievable. And I remember here's some things. Number one, they toured with Madonna in 1985 before they even released their first album. That's how good these kids were. 3 white kids from New York, right? Who would have thought? Who would have thought by the ultimate Rick Rubin who finds them? So at the end of the day, what I will say is, how amazing was it? I think their legacy, in my opinion, is 1987. They come out with License to Ill. We all know the album. We could probably recite what it looks like right now without even a picture, right? We all know about it. We all listen to it. But then they make the historic decision to leave Def Jam, which at that time was the pinnacle of production, right? And Rick Rubin, and go to Capitol Records and drop probably their best album, Paul's Boutique, of all time. And I just don't think that they're talked enough about when we talk about rap music. I just don't. And I don't know why it is. 20 million records sold. 20 million records sold. Okay, unbelievable. Biggest ever since 1991, and Billboard started tracking that. 7 platinum albums. I mean, this was, I'll tell you, man, anybody that knows the Beastie Boys, anybody that hears that video that we just played knows who they are. And again, I'll open this up. Phil, you're the guest. I'm going to come right to you. And Beastie Boy, I know you were excited when I talked Beastie Boys. I say, yeah, we're going to talk a little Beastie Boys. Beastie Boys, what do they mean to you? And in your opinion, are they underrated?
Oh, they're absolutely underrated as a rap group, as their alternative rock. I'll let you guys talk about all the albums and all the other stuff. But the one thing, I'm sure you guys remember Y100, right? The old alternative rock station.
Of course.
They used to have their festival every year, the Y100 Fez.
Yes.
I had the privilege. They only played in one Y100 Fez in 2000 and 2003, I think it was, or 2004. They were the headliners of it. And I went to every single festival from 97 or 96, whenever it started, right through. And I saw Green Day. I saw, the names that they used to have at that. And to get to see them in 2004, towards the end of their, run, they only toured for a few more years after that. It ranks up there. I've seen some of the greatest music acts of all time. And that moment, getting to see them do that 45-minute set was simply one of the top 5 moments of my musical career of, going to concerts and going to shows. It ranks up there for me as one of the greatest moments there to see them. And I look back and I'm just so happy to be able to say that I got to see them perform live.
That's a great thing, Mike. I know you had a lot of time in New York back in the younger days. Did you ever see Beastie Boys?
Well, I didn't see them in New York, but I have spent quite a bit of time there, as you know.
Yep.
But I did see the Beastie Boys live at the Spectrum, 1987, License to Ill tour.
Oh, man.
Okay. All right. So I saw that. And at the end of the concert, they had a 30-foot inflatable penis that rose from the bottom of the stage to the top, and they were thrown out of the Spectrum. They were never allowed to come back after that. until again in 2003, I saw them on the Intergalactic tour, and guess who opened up for them? Tribe Called Quest.
See?
So that to me
Unreal.
was probably the best concert that I've been to, because they had this stage in 03 that it was rotating. So the stage was directly in the middle of the at the time it was the Core State Center, and it was just rotating. So it was constantly spinning. So everybody got a view of the live performance, and it was absolutely unbelievable. The 87 tour, I was in grade school, man, so I couldn't really absorb what was happening, right? But now that I think about it, I still remember the concert. But in 2003 with Tribe, that was absolutely unable.
So that was 2003?
Yeah.
Wow. That was like classic Tribe. That was right. That was like
that
low
was
end.
that was Midnight Marauders, I guess,
Midnight
right? Yeah, it was probably Midnight Marauders, and they sound, they hit everything from that album. So it was they hit everything from the Low End Theory, which was, Left My Wallet and El Segundo, Bonita Applebum, and then they went into Who Got the Jazz and Butter and Scenario. It was unbelievable. And they
was Busta there? Did they break Busta out for that?
No, he wasn't there. It was just the Tribe, and it was Beastie. So that's it. It wasn't anybody else. It was Tribe Called Quest opened up, and then it was the Beastie Boys. So it was like unbelievable. So are they underrated? I would say they don't get nearly enough as respect as musical artists as they should. But you know why? I think because you hit the nail right on the head. I think it's a categorization problem. They don't know where to fit them at in terms of genre.
It's a good point. Listen, I'll tell you what. They broke so many boundaries. They did. You say what you want, but and this, I don't want this to sound way off base here, but listen, back in the day, you had, and Mike, I know you'll know this. John, I'm not sure. You may remember. Phil, I'm not sure, but I know because me and Mike have talked for so many years. Back then, when Yo MTV Raps, Rap City, on BET. These were the shows that I gravitated towards. And to see the Beastie Boys getting played on BET and then being honored on the VH1 Hip Hop Honors was huge because, listen, that just doesn't happen. This isn't Vanilla Ice. Okay? This ain't Vanilla Ice. This is true music, man.
Right. Yeah.
Right? This is true music. It's unbelievable. It is. And they were so electric, man.
They were respected as artists.
Yes.
They really were.
They really, really were. And it was, John, what are you feeling about the Beastie Boys?
When you talk about, Mike, you said about the classification of them. It's very similar to like Limp Bizkit, like in the 90s. It was like rock. And what's that?
But way before Limp Bizkit, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
They didn't know where to put them.
Yes. Do you have those groups where like they don't quite fit in here, they don't quite fit in here, and that sometimes that's how you get different music to bleed over on one another. You know what I mean? Which is a good thing. Look, I do believe I saw the Beasties at Lollapalooza in 1994.
Wow.
That's great.
Along with the Smashing Pumpkins.
Wow.
I think it was George Clinton.
Oh,
And
wow.
I
Now
care-
that's
You're really
amazing.
throwing a good lineup out. I want to go see that one now.
George Clinton. Wow.
Once upon a time, I had a T-shirt. I mean, who knows where that went by now? But
Wow.
that was my first concert I ever went to in 1994, Lollapalooza.
Lollapalooza.
Wow. That was when, listen, that was when concerts were huge. The outdoor, that was when, like, remember MTV had like the MTV Spring Break, and everybody was lined up to see who was going to be performing, right? But one thing I will say about the Beastie Boys, and again, Mike D, MCA, and obviously rest in peace, MC Adam Yak dies in 2012 with a cancer battle, and Adam A.D. Rock. But here's the thing. You knew there was no auto-tune necessary for the Beastie Boys. Like, their voice and their beat was synonymous with everything you've ever heard. You knew, you didn't have to second guess. Who is that? What is that? The Beastie Boys made there's certain people in the rap game, I say, like Biggie and Tupac, whose voices are very unique. They stand out. You know who they are. And it's the same thing with the Beastie Boys. And I remember listening to License to Ill over and over, and this is before CDs, right? This is a cassette deck. I remember I had the cassette deck, and I must have high-speed dubbed that for a bunch of my buddies all the time. Yo, can I get that tape? Can I get that tape? And you had the dual cassette, you threw it in, you had the high-speed dub button, right? But I'll tell you, No Sleep Till Brooklyn, man, just all day long, man, just unbelievable.
Every track on that album was great. I mean, you played it at the beginning, you just let it go, right? You didn't skip over anything.
Nope.
They were all great, and they were all different, right? So the music style was completely different. So the production, and as these guys were coming up with these songs, I mean, they were thinking in a totally different direction as they were redeveloping, sort of doing a hybrid between rap and between rock music. They were sort of pulling it in. It's almost like Run DMC paves the way with the Aerosmith collaboration. They were really sort of the first to do it.
Yep.
And then the Beastie Boys came in and did it, and they did it successfully for years. And then you had, like John was saying, you had the Rage Against the Machine, you had Limp Bizkit, and that whole genre opened up, right? But that was, all those tracks were laid down from the foundation of the Beastie Boys.
That's crazy. You think about what you just said. So the Beastie Boys laid down a foundation for rock and rap music.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
And now there's tons of it now. I don't know how much you get into the new stuff, but there's Jurassic 5. There's all these different groups that combine both of the genres, and they even threw electronic stuff into it. So there's a lot of different. You can hear Beastie Boy influences in all these different bands that are coming out every day. If you listen to some of the newer stuff.
What about Kid Rock in reality?
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about somebody that's all over the genre. Kid Rock, man, he can play it anyway.
There you go.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But if you go back and the amazing thing is just to pay homage to them, and you go back and you listen to a guy like Chuck D and a guy like LL Cool J, Ladies Love Cool J, right? So you think about that, you hear what they have to say about these guys. And again, some of that obviously they wrote down, but some of it was just, I mean, Public Enemy toured with the Beastie Boys.
Oh, sorry. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot to bring that up. They opened for the Beastie Boys in the License to Ill tour.
Yes.
And nobody knew what they were doing. Like they had this big bullseye on the stage, and all of a sudden all these guys start coming out with guns, and they were running all around. There was like this militant army. It was the S1Ws. People were blown away when nobody knew what to think.
And that's another. Listen, this is what happens.
Wow,
we open one door, another one opens up, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Talk about another underrated group in Public Enemy.
Completely.
Nobody talks about Public Enemy.
They were
Black Planet.
They were militant though. People were afraid of Public Enemy. Public Enemy was pissed off. Chuck. They were mad. Chuck, I mean, Flavor brought the fun to the but those beats were nasty, and Chuck D he had a message.
Yes, yeah, and Chuck D was an MC. That's the thing. Chuck D was an MC. He wasn't a rapper. He was an MC. There's MCs and there's rappers. Okay, MCs are like Rakim and Chuck D and KRS-One. They're not rappers. They're MCs. And Chuck D, you're right, Mike. I mean, it was a complete, everything he said, it was he wasn't just rhyming. He was telling a story.
Everything. And they were serious stories. I mean, serious issues.
Yes.
And in the black community was being voiced by Chuck D. I think he was I think he was the first to do it, right? Were they the first group to not politicize, but bring social issues and
I think they were
like that to the table? Because after they started doing that, then that opened up the door for NWA.
I was just going to say that. Yep, that's exactly what it did.
Without Public Enemy, there's no NWA.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that was all, and it was all Chuck D. Listen, I mean, you said it. I mean, he was the first one to fight back against social injustice. He was the first one to bring up those social issues that we never, listen. And again, I never knew about any of that because it wasn't right. It wasn't, it wasn't produced. It wasn't shown. It wasn't publicized. Nobody knew what the hell they were talking about.
Nobody knew what we were talking about. We just loved the beats. We loved it.
Yes.
They were nasty.
Yes.
You would love slamming those beats in your car. It was like the best.
911 is a joke, man. Remember to get up and get down.
Night of Living Bass Heads, Rebel Without a Pause. I mean,
Welcome to
Don't Believe the Hype. Over
Fight the Power.
See,
Fight the Power.
and I got hyped when they collaborated with Anthrax, Bring the Noise. I mean, that's probably my ultimate, and going right back to the crossover, that was my stuff right there.
Wow.
And this is why I say, and I know Jenna checked in because Jenna, I know she's on the millennial generation, right? And she doesn't know who those guys are, right? The same thing. Some of people we talk about, they say, "Who are do yourself?" That's why I tell my kids, and I try to teach. Listen, you have to go back in history. Stop, looking at today's music, because today's music to me is trash. It's garbage.
We should have a segment about that. I think today's music has been unfairly labeled. I will say that 90% of it is trash, 90% of it, but really with the internet and with Spotify, you can dig and find these unknown artists. There's so many people making great music. They just have no promotion and it never gets out there. But you got to spend some time and dig.
Well, I'd love to do a show on that, because I'll tell you, because I love music, and I would love to hear some new music that actually is spot on. So, Mike, send them my way, man. Let's do it.
For sure. Some good guys out there. Travis Scott's very good. Kendrick Lamar is very good. There's some really, really good artists, but the majority of it is crap.
Yeah,
it's not like 90s where we grew up. I mean,
the problem I have is it's all the same beat, man. It's all the same thing.
Well, it's funny because my son says the same thing. He's like, that 90s stuff, it's like it all sounds the same, and I'm like, geez,
you know what? You guys are like two old guys. Get off my lawn.
Get the F off my lawn. This stuff sucks.
Every generation, any music that came out 40 years after your heyday, the music sucks. Tell me one generation that didn't say music sucked 30 years after their heyday. Look, I don't like it either. I'm not going to say that I don't like it. That's just dating ourselves. Put the date stamp on. We're old.
Well, I think one thing.
I'm younger than you guys, so don't classify me with the old.
All right.
I'm lucky that my older brother, which this will make sure that I prove that he doesn't watch any of my shows, because I'm going to call him out here. You know what I mean? Because he's got Facebook and Twitter. He ain't watching anything. If it wasn't for his love for rap, I'm a 1980 kid. That's when I was born. So, if it wasn't for him, he was he was born in 74 or whatever.
Okay.
His rap, listening, and me eavesdropping, because I'm a conservative Catholic family. I listen to rock and roll and that's it. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for him, his flat top with his overalls, there's a picture sitting in my mom's house, with him in his flat top with the overalls hanging down and the orange shirt, because, that's what he was, into at the time. And that's why I call him out, because, me calling that picture out to everybody, he'd get really upset with that. But if it wasn't for that, I would not even know anything about the Beastie Boys, about any of these great rap groups of the late 80s, early 90s, if it wasn't for his, I don't want to call it rebellion per se, but, in my kind of a family, that was very rebellious at the time.
Sounds like your brother was fighting the good fight. So, kudos to him for keeping you in.
As an older brother, but,
So look, we got
anytime he got kicked out of the house, I'd be in his room going through all his cassettes,
Well, Phil, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to keep you on the spot right here. We got 2 minutes left, so let's an ad lib real fast to stay on this topic. I just want to hear this. First album you ever purchased, if you remember. First album you purchased. Do you remember what it was?
I have no idea, dude. Because most of I was pretty cheap back in the day, so most of the albums were just stolen from my brother's room. So.
How about you, John? First album you ever purchased? Do you remember?
I don't remember the first album per se,
Get him
Who
close.
knows if it was Phil Collins when I was like 4 years old for $1 at the dollar store
Well,
or
you know,
something.
There was
I no, but
dollar store.
the first what I can remember. I mean, I always get dub music. My first CD was Onyx. Their very first one, that where the first song was back the.
Oh yeah.
Back
And
to
my mom was like, "Here, I want to hear this R-rated CD that you just bought."
Oh, with the parental advisory.
I was not raised in a Catholic family, but let me tell you, it didn't go over too well. Okay,
That's funny. Onyx. Wow, Mike. What about you, buddy?
I'm gonna take you way back, bro.
Go
You're
ahead,
talking
man.
about showing and dating our age here.
I'm going to show my age though.
All right, so I'm gonna throw a good one at you. Jam on it, Nucleus.
Wow, jam on it.
It was either that or it was Africa Bambaataa, Planet Rock, which to me was the game changer of all music.
Wow.
That so many beats were pulled off of Planet Rock.
Yes.
And when Planet Rock can still be played today and it's still great, to me that was a trendsetter. So I remember buying that and buying Nucleus Jam on it. You're talking 83, 84. I was 11, 12.
Ain't that crazy?
Crazy.
That's okay. I'm only a couple years ahead of you. Okay, so number one, first song, or I should say first group that introduced me, and my buddy down the street, his same like Phil, he had an older brother, and I remember we would hang out in a room. They had bunk beds, so they shared it with his brother, and I remember him hitting play on his cassette deck, and was in there was Boogie Down Productions, and
Wow.
Boogie Down Productions, right? But the first album I ever bought was LL Cool J, Bigger and Deffer. I remember it like it was yesterday. I think it's 1986. Okay.
Yep.
Cover track, I'm Bad, was unbelievable. I still remember he got the bucket hat with the black jumpsuit with the big ass gold chain on the front. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Wasn't he leaning against a fence or something?
Yeah, yes, he was
I
leaning against
remember
the
that. I remember that album vividly. Yes.
and I knew every word from that track. I knew every song from that album, and that was one of my favorite of all time. So
Yeah, nice one.
Mike, we're old, bro. That's
Nice.
it.
We are. John hit it.
But on that note, trivia. What's a couple people had some answers, but I'm going to ask you guys. You want to take some shots here, Mike? Do you have any guesses to this?
I did. I mean, but I think it was Jenna that mentioned Jernigan. So I was going to say Torrey Smith and Jernigan, and I said the third one. I don't know who the third one is, so I struck out.
So Torrey Smith was definitely one of them. Phil, did you have any guesses?
Torrey Smith right away. I thought Jernigan too. I'm literally I have not looked, so I'm not going to cheat or anything like that. I have no idea on the third one. Well, the second and the third one.
I haven't looked, but wasn't it a guy they had on the defensive line that came over from another team? Or
he was on defense.
Then that's not who I'm thinking of. So no, I have nothing.
Both these guys are defensive. One is a D-back. I'll tell you that, which is Corey Graham. Okay. And the other one, so I actually got Corey Graham and Torrey Smith right at the bat. I just remember because I remember Corey Graham played a lot.
I would never have guessed that. Never.
The guy I forgot was Darnell Ellerby.
Wow.
Right? Darnell Ellerby. And remember, Ellerby was a really good pass rushing specialist. He had big money, and then he got hurt, and then they kind of just like let him go.
Yeah, he just never panned out. Yeah.
Never panned out. But yeah, Darnell Ellerby, man. Check that out. So it was Ellerby, Graham, and Smith. That was one nobody got this week. And that was like a Joselio Hansen question, Mike. I tell you, man, I have this. My pop bought me this Eagles trivia book. He bought me two things, right? He bought me Eagles trivia book and this Super Bowl ring for the Eagles, and I'm wearing right now. So he's like, "Here, I want you to have I've got these for you." So now I pick out these questions every week. It's like a 50-page encyclopedia of Eagles trivia, dude. It's unbelievable.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. You start going there. Al says he knew it was a linebacker. Yeah, it was Ellerby, Al. Amazing. Ellerby. I forgot all about Ellerby, man. Corey Graham played a lot that year. He played a lot for that team. It was amazing because they had some injuries and stuff. But listen, boys, hour 30. Phil, I'm sorry. We usually go an hour. Last week was 2 hours. I said I'm not going 2 hours. Like,
Tone, should we make a guess on the game real quick? Should we all put a prediction?
Have predictions. So I'm like, go ahead, brother. Give me your prediction for this game.
You know what? I hate to say this because I want the Eagles to win so bad.
Oh no.
I know, but I just feel like some kind of weird thing is going to happen with this Fanucci guy. I mean, I really do. I know. I think he's going to look. I'm not saying the Eagles are going to win or going to lose. I don't know. I'm not going to make a prediction because I just don't know. But I think this guy is going to ball out. That's all I'm saying. I think he's going to ball out.
DiNucci. No score prediction.
DiNucci, whatever. Yeah, prediction. Okay. I think at 21-17, the Cowboys.
Oh, man. Wow. Wow. You know, here's the thing.
I've never picked the Cowboys in my life, but this team's a dumpster fire. I'm sorry.
And you know, you're right. And here's the thing. Eventually the Cowboys are going to win. They're going to win a game. I don't know what it's going to be, but they're going to win a game. I don't know what it is, but they're going to win a game.
Phil looks like he wants to kill me. I'm sorry. I don't mean to say that. I really don't. I don't
want to kill you. You know, I
just got a weird feel. It's one of those weird weeks, weird game, and this guy's going to do something. I don't.
Please, no Joe Webb. That's all I got to say. No Joe Webb, please. I don't want to see a Joe Webb game. Phil, what do you got, buddy?
Well, honestly, I have to be that guy and not give my prediction because I got to plug all about the birds tomorrow night at 9:15.
Yes.
That's when I give my prediction.
I forgot about that.
We do our live weekly preview show every Wednesday at 9:15. But I will tell you this about my prediction: they are covering the spread. The Eagles, 100% covering the spread. My final score will go out there tomorrow, but that'll also be a lock of the week for me. Eagles covering that spread. I'm not worried. The momentum's going in their favor. We got this. Nobody named after an Italian lunch meat is going to beat the Eagles.
I find that offensive, Phil.
Well, I'm an Italian. My name might be German, but I'm more Italian than anything else. Just so you know, if you didn't see the hands moving around.
I would like a large Fanucci and provolone sandwich.
Yeah, I know.
Extra hot peppers.
Strangely, that's on my menu, I think, at my restaurant.
That is too funny. John, Pittsburgh, John, what do you got for us Philly guys here, brother? What's your prediction?
3 predictions. Prediction 1, Ben DiNucci is the 4th Beastie Boy. Prediction number 2, we will never go under an hour and a half, so Phil, don't let him kid you. Prediction number 3 is it's going to be a 23-20. It's a division game. It's going to be tight, and the Eagles come out on top.
Wow.
So you think it's going to be tight too? Yeah, well, I don't know.
20.
I got a bad feeling, man. I hope I'm wrong. And trust me, just to let you know, every time I get something, I always lose. So maybe I did that on purpose.
Look, I'm not sure of my final score yet, but I'm looking somewhere in the neighborhood of 27-28 Eagles to like 10-13. So 27-13, 27-10. I don't know. I haven't figured it out enough yet, but
the line is pretty telling. 7.5 is a big spread. I just feel like there's just a disaster looming, and maybe I just can't help it.
I think Zeke's pissed.
Power of positivity here. That's what.
Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
Zeke is pissed.
Wow, Jenna says Dallas wins a close game at 12-9. Jeez, that crap barn burner at 12-9.
Well, we just watched that crap on Monday night with that stiff Nick Foles. So I hope we don't have to watch 12-9. Okay,
12-9 would be painful.
I hope we don't have to watch the Bills kick how many field goals to win the game without a touchdown. I mean, I'm sorry.
Oh man, that would be horrendous.
Can we get a quick vote on Jake Elliott?
Oh, exactly.
I called it before the season started that contract was a big mistake. So.
First of all, he needs to lose the mustache.
He's not going anywhere with that contract now.
Or the stash. Yeah, he's got to get rid of the stash too if he thinks he's going to sign somewhere else.
It looks really bad, man. Looks like I don't know if that's affecting his kicking ability, but the stash has got to go. But yeah, like I hate to quote Mikey Miss, but you got one job to do. Yeah, you got one job to do. You don't do nothing except kick a football. That's it. You're getting paid.
He hates kickers.
Football.
Yeah, he's not a big fan of kickers. He hates them. Yeah, he hates them.
He hates kickers.
Remember that crap that he started with? Didn't he get into a big beef with David Akers or something? Him and one of the Eagles kickers got into a huge beef. It was like almost physical. I think it was Akers.
Jen is a Niners fan. She says Niners 24, Seattle 21. I actually like that. I think the Niners beat the Seahawks this week.
It's possible.
I do. I think they're, and I'll tell you what, the Niners are getting their guys back. You know, that's the thing. They get D Ford back. They get Richard Sherman back. I'll tell you, man, that's the best division of football, by the way. But it used to be the NFC East, but no longer. But I will go. I can't go with the Cowboys. I got to go with the
obviously because you're rational,
right? Oh well, I just got it. I got to go with the Eagles, and You know, I hope for no Tommy Hutton fumble at the end, fumble a snap, because I do think it's going to go by a field goal. I do. I think it's going to go by a field goal. I'm actually going to go. I think it's going to be a weird game. There's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. I say 34-31 Eagles. I do. I do. And prediction, Jalen Hurts will throw a touchdown. He will throw a touchdown this week.
We're all throwing
over under Jalen Hurts being on the field for 10 plays or more.
How about the J and J connection? Jalen Hurts throws to Jalen Reagor for a touchdown.
The new breed.
Just throwing it out there. Jalen Hurts is going to get involved this week.
I think it's going to be a weird game. I agree with you. Very strange, weird things are going to happen. You know, I just feel like it's not going to end well.
Day after Halloween. You know what I mean? Like,
I want to know.
What's that, John?
No, I want to know what the odds are on Jalen Hurts throwing a touchdown pass. Like, you're throwing it out there. I'm just sitting there. I'm thinking, look, Tony's always crazy. And then I'm like, but you know what? He's right a lot of times. I'm like, how much do I got to rake on? What are the odds on this Jalen Hurts touchdown pass thing?
You want to get some side action on it, John? What are we laying on this Jalen Hurts throwing a touchdown pass? Yeah, Tony usually does call.
That's got to be like a plus 700 at least.
At least
700. No, I'm not even getting close to it with 700 plus 700. No, this had, I don't know where I'm going to have to look at this, but it had no.
That's what Al says. Wow, it's a lot of points, bro. Jenna asked, this is why I said, does the game get flexed out Sunday night? I mean, I know we talked about that earlier. I thought it would be by now. I'm shocked that it's
unless there's a COVID-related issue. And they're worried at this point of the season, they don't flex the games out. So it's a COVID. That's why last week's game got flexed out, was because there was a fear with whoever it was, with the Raiders, was it?
Yes.
COVID and all.
Yeah.
And that's why they flexed them out early. At this point of the season, before week 10 or 12, they don't flex games out of the Sunday night game.
Final thought, Tone. What's the attitude Monday morning if they lose? What happens?
Well,
like what do you do at that point? I'm not look. I hope that does not happen. Okay, and usually, just so everybody knows, again, whatever I pick, the opposite wins. I'm the worst bettor, the worst gambler. I always lose. So that bodes very well for the Eagles. But let's just say that they lose, and they lose to this bum Finucci or whatever his name is. Then what?
Then Jim Schwartz is fired Monday morning.
Oh, this guy should have been fired a long time ago.
Yeah, I know, but there's got to be a scapegoat. Right, something's got to happen.
It's got to be Schwartz,
and it's not going to be Doug.
Well, we know it's not Howie or Doug.
Yeah, it won't be Doug, because he, listen, no matter what we think of him, I think he, at the end of the day, he's kind of earned some more time here,
right?
Because he's made the playoffs every year he's been a coach. So
yeah,
what do? You got to fire somebody though. Can't happen. Says Carson gets traded. And Al says you're better odds on Hurts scoring. You're right. Better odds on Hurts scoring a rush touchdown. Mm-hmm. But I have to be, like John says, I got to be a little crazy, Al. I got to be a little crazy. It wouldn't be the jigsaw mentality if I did it. So I just see, I don't know what it is. I have this crystal ball. I see him throwing a touchdown. So we'll see. But Mike, I'm telling you, if they lose, Jim Schwartz he might as well just not even get on a flight. There's no way he's getting thrown right under the bus. Because if he lets Ben DiNucci beat him, okay, just think about that. Just think about it for a second. Let it percolate, okay? No pun intended. Let it percolate a little bit in your mind, and just think about this
I just have this weird feeling that he's going to go off. I don't know why.
Dude,
you know what's funny?
Halftime, Ben DiNucci's going to be selling hot dogs in the stands.
Yeah.
Yo, Ben DiNucci, throw me one of them dogs.
Oh, my God. Unbelievable. Well, boys, hour and 43. So Al said over and under is always under 2 hours. So over and under is always 2 hours. I tell you what, we've been going.
You keep saying that this show's almost over. That was like 35 minutes ago.
Yeah, we're done. We're done.
We get off on these tangents and we just go, and we can do this for hours. We all could.
It's crazy. We got to get a daily show. That's all. We just got to get a daily show. But anyway, John, PGA Sean 36, give him a follow. Our fantasy guy, as always, tons of stats. We always do stuff live. Me and John bring back the fantasy firebox this week. Mikey Gooch for filling in, as always, coming in at part of the team. One guy leaves, another guy brought in and filling in very, very nicely. Really appreciate it.
Happy to
Gives
help.
us that fan perspective, man. I love every
crazy, unemotional, irrational, dumb fan perspective. Please don't listen to anything I say. This is totally for entertainment purposes.
But you're very, very intellectual, very intelligent, and it just shows how educated our fan base is. And Phil Seifel, Phil, go ahead, man. Plug your stuff. I know you got your show tomorrow night. Tell everybody
we got the All About the Birds week, whatever week we're in preview. It's Dallas week. So that's why we start at the All About the Birds podcast.
Nice.
It's number one reason. So we can have a show to bash the Cowboys whenever we play the Cowboys. And I know Johnny, my co-host, he's always fighting with Cowboys fans online. So we can't wait. Tomorrow, 9:15 live at AAT Birds. You know, we're gonna crush the Cowboys tomorrow night, big time.
I love it. Check it in. They go live as well. They'll be live. You catch them on at AAT Birds, right?
That's the Twitter handle and Facebook, All About the Birds.
Yep. Check them out.
We're on it all.
Yep.
I just copied Tony and did everything Tony was doing for All About the Birds. That's basically, that was my benchmark. I just saw that. I'm like, we'll just do all that.
Oh, that's funny, man. I love it.
Whatever works.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to follow the great, right?
Give me a follow at TicketSold23 and follow the show at Heat Ratio Sports on all social platforms. And by the way, we did get a winner. We had 168 contestants sign up for our contest this week, and somebody did win a jersey. So Jigsaw finished second, by the way, just so you guys know. I was 3 points off, but I was close. I had 47, winner had 50, so I'll take it. What's that?
If you're not first, you're last.
Yeah, I hear you. I would have had to give away the jersey anyway if I would have got it, because it wouldn't have been right. So I'd have given it to somebody else. But again, at Heat Ratio Sports, give us a follow. Like we say every week, stay healthy, and we will catch you for episode 134 next week.
Bye.